Hello. Um, yeah. Hi, Henry. I mean, if you if you don't know what magic is, I feel like this stream is going to be very boring because I'm about to talk about magic for a while. um, oh, still early. Yeah. At some point, I'm just gonna like. I'm gonna bring up Scryfall and just like go through the spoilers. There are some cards I have thoughts on, and some I don't, because Magic is a game that not every card is interesting. Fuck. Spammer in chat. There we go. And you might notice I have background music this time. That's actually something I've had for a while that I just haven't been using. Mostly because I've always had either something else going on in the background or just didn't really feel fitting to have background music. The album is Melbeat by Umi, aka Kuresea, aka Dylan. Links in the credits below, or in the description below. And I don't know, I hit a friend up and was like, hey, you make cool music. Mind if I mind if I use this as BGM? And they were fine with it. We had talked about them doing my BGM beforehand, but they couldn't really come up with, like, any one track to really work in, like, the same vein as, like, Artemis. And, like, these tracks are nice, but I couldn't see any of them, like, lasting, like, a full stream. But I do appreciate that, like, this can just loop, and, on repeat. Anyway, I don't know. I'm just gonna start. Using Vivaldi this time, because opera wasn't playing nice with, Scrabble. Anyway, thoughts on spoilers. So far, I've been kinda happy with Strixhaven, kinda not. Strixhaven's a, neat set. There are, neat cards. Hello, Umbrella System. Yeah, Strixhaven is, like... I didn't have the highest expectations for it going in, and it has only slightly exceeded that. But I like some of what it's doing. It has some cool mechanical ideas. And find it interesting. And with the commands, these 5, most of them seem like decent, between decent and alright. But decent to alright doesn't seem especially great, and I can't really see most of these getting used. Aside from, like, Witherbloom command, maybe. Quandrix command, maybe. But the, Lorehold and Prismari ones I don't like them. Is it, Dragon deck, was fun, back when Kaldheim first dropped, and, Prismari command making treasure tokens might mean that, that'll get a resurgence, and treasure tokens are a theme here, so maybe that'll be a thing. Anyway, hi to the people in chat who don't play Magic and are just having to hear me go off about, like, the intricacies of the game. This is why I was thinking it wouldn't be a very, interesting, stream to people who don't play Magic, but we'll see, we'll see. An archive analog, oh cool, I get to watch the stream. Yeah, thanks, welcome. So yeah, TLDR on the commands, I guess, is, the green ones are kinda cool, and the others aren't. For how good the Silver Quill art is, I wish it was better. Also, I just realized my mouse is on. But, the Silver Quill art is, like... It's cool. I just wish that it did more. Sacrificing, or making your opponent sacrifice a creature and drawing cards is, like, yeah, that's general enough. But it doesn't do enough, especially, at 4 mana. And... I don't think Casmina seems cool for, like, Super Friends. And Super Friends is a deck I really like. It's a deck I vibe with, but, woo, fish stream. Yeah, hello, Mashire. But yeah, for Casmina, I can imagine, like, there is a deck in Commander that desperately wants her. Because, the fact that she can give Planeswalkers a +2 is big. Because that means all of the War of the Sparks uncommon Planeswalkers can now plus, and they're not just stuck, like, hoping for Proliferate. And that's really big. But outside of the Super Friends deck, I don't see her doing anything. And I don't think WotC was intending her to do anything besides that. But, for Professor Onyx, I think she's great. I think that WotC decided to reprint Storm. And they did so in the form of a Liliana. And I really hope that there is a, like, Grixis Storm deck in Standard after this. Lord knows I'm going to be trying to brew Grixis Storm. Because every spell you cast or copy dealing damage is, like, a perfect recipe for Storm. And her abilities are, like, good, too. All three of them are just, like, good, dealing with creatures, drawing cards, winning the game. If you get that +8 off, you win the game. That's just how that works. But yeah, Professor Onyx is cool. And then, Rowan and Will. Again, like, I think, is it spells, is it dragon, and, or, like, that deck, or Storm, will have a fun time with the, passive here. And the way that they, their abilities are complementary to a deck like that. But I don't know if they'll make the cut. I think it's an interesting design now, and, I am interested to see what else they do with the, modal technology, that they have here. And then this is, this too again. But, Dragon's Guard Elite is a very win more card. Because if you're doubling its, counters, that cost 6 mana, and you can probably be doing better with, 6 mana, but also it'll have grown. I'm just not very impressed with it. Maybe decks will want to use it as a beat stick, but, I'm not very happy with it. Archmage, Emeritus is, once again, spells. Drawing cards is good. All of your spells are now value. That is a strong effect. And I feel like it's only a 2/2 and it costs 4, but it can draw you a lot of cards. And I think that's very valuable. So I think this, and also this just goes into, like, a ton of commander decks. I'm mostly talking about Standard here, because that's what I play the most out of. But, yeah, it can be fun in Commander. I can imagine Commander decks that want that. And then, I don't have much to say about Eager First Year. It's a draft common. It's a 2/2, as you can see, past my twin tail. And it's, like, a bear with upside is fine. But, Confront the Past. Confront the Past is a card I like. I don't know if it's, like, main boardable, as is, just, like, I don't know if Planeswalkers are going to be seeing that much play. But I think it's, like, has the potential to be one of the strongest cards, with in the lesson mechanic. Just because the ability to get this and to just kill a Planeswalker for, like, 2 black, that's strong. And the ability to just grab that out of your sideboard and not have to deal with that baggage, that's strong. So I think, like, if Learn goes anywhere, this will be part of it. Less exciting overall, but still very exciting to me, is a pest summoning. I love pests. These pests are cute. I really love pest tokens. I really love a lot of the tokens in this set, actually. I look forward to casting pest summoning in draft a lot. And then losing because it's not that great a card. But with Learn, and a couple of these in the sideboard, like, I'll be having fun, even if I'm not winning. Pop Quiz is Divination. It's a new Divination. I think it might see play in Standard, depending on the Learn mechanic. It's something new for the game, so it's pretty hard to assess, but there's a lot of cards that are like, if this mechanic is good, it will be good for this mechanic. And Professor of Symbology, I think Professor of Symbology, regardless of, like, Learn's effect on Standard as a whole, will be seeing play. Because white sucks at card draw, so, like, a white card that can enter the battlefield and, draw you, or, like, put a card into your hand is good. And, the fact that it can come down in a late game and, clear a land from your hand in hopes of getting something better is also good. And it's a piker, like, it has a good body. So I think Professor of Symbology is a very strong card that will be showing up in Standard decks. I don't think, I don't think it'll, see much play outside of Standard or, Draft, though. Also, shout out to the flavor text. As someone who's, like, kind of gotten more interested in languages lately, I like that attitude. A language isn't dead until we stop learning from it. I appreciate that. This is all confusing to me, but honestly pretty cool overall. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're not super familiar with, recent Magic stuff, this might not be super familiar. But hopefully, like, you can be following along, like, cards that explain what they do, and stuff. Yeah, and then, Witherbloom Apprentice. I just have it in my notes as all caps Storm. It's a shittier version of Professor Onyx, I think, as far as, like, ways to achieve Storm go. But we can build Storm in Standard, so I'm gonna be building Storm in Standard. And compared to that, Silver Quill Apprentice is a lot less exciting. Just, like, buffing something isn't especially great. Like, you can get the damage in, but I'm not very enthusiastic about that. Quandrix Apprentice, on the other hand, Quandrix Apprentice is, good. Simic is already great for value, so to have, that and just getting more, my only exposure to card games as a kid, was Yu-Gi-Oh! So I've never thought about what makes a card good or not, other than big number good. Yeah, there's a lot that can go on in card games. Like, with this card, like, this card is good because it won't win you the game on its own, but it can just it can draw you cards. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, what makes cards good is big numbers. But you want cards to draw those big numbers. So, I think Quandrix Apprentice will be very good. Yeah, card games are massive brain. And so, a step down from Quandrix Apprentice or Witherbloom Apprentice is Prismari Apprentice, which it exists. Again, it deals damage. I'll take them and draft a bunch, but I'm not gonna love it. Yeah, cards is a stepping stone to big numbers rather than being big numbers. Exactly. Because Magic is a game where the goal is to get your opponent's life from 20 to 0, and you need to have cards to do that. So, so after, the other apprentices, Lorehold Apprentice is really weird. The way it's just like, your spirits are doing damage. Your spirits are poking your opponent. And I think the spirit sub-theme that, the Lorehold school has is, neat. And I'm interested to see what can be built from that. But, I don't know, how playable it's going to be. For Stormkiln Artist, I just want to point out how nice it is that they put Storm in the name of the card that I'm going to be wanting to play in my Storm decks. Just, every spell I cast creates mana. And if I have the dragon out, it creates 2 mana. Like, you're gonna notice me talking about a few specific archetypes, and that's just, like, me as a player wanting to play certain decks. I definitely want to be playing Storm with Magecraft, because that seems like it's great for that. Going from Stormkill and Artist, which is a, like, maybe a bit conventional, but still very exciting card, to Shandrix Silverquill, who is a big dragon that does things. Flying and double strike and a 2/5 body is not anything exciting to me. And then its abilities aren't anything I really like. I think, like, the fact that you have to give one to your opponent definitely says that this is a commander card rather than a standard card. But even as a commander card, I think, like, the mechanics don't really come together for me. I guess, like, you can just choose one. Or, actually, no, you have to choose two. So it's just kind of like, it just, I don't like Shandrix. I don't like giving my opponent free stuff. That's generally a bad thing. That's generally a sign that, you're doing things wrong. Yeah, gee, an Elder Dragon meant for Elder Dragon Highlander. Who would have thought? Yeah. The Snarls here are such mid-tier, check lands. Like, I am going to be playing these as soon as the, Tri-lands from Ikoria aren't in Standard, and I'm not gonna like it. I don't want these around. Because it's just kind of, like, less good, less exciting. But still playable enough. Like, and you can proc them off the, Kaldheim Snow Duels, which is at least nice. I don't know. Something about these just, like, I don't really like. And, Uvilda and, Nasari are, like... My notes for, Uvilda were... we have Suspend at Home. As far as Commander goes, like, I'd just rather play Joyra. And as far as Standard goes, that mechanic is way too slow. So, I don't think Uvilda is a very good card. And, Nasari does things. I think the, like, playing from exile aspect of him is neat. Playing with, like, burn, or, like, red's, like, exile draw. But I don't think it's... I still don't think it's great. And the fact that he costs 5 isn't super great. Stealing your opponent's cards is good, though. I do like stealing my opponent's things. Expanded Anatomy is a card I will be happy to never play in my deck. I think it's one of the better lessons. Just so much as, like, I'm not going to be taking it before, like, pick 8. But I'm going to be happy I have it when I can just use that to get some damage in. Yeah, hopefully they'll, like, reprint, Pain Lands or Fast Lands or something that, like, helps facilitate, multicolored play. I would even take a, Fabled Passage reprint. Although I'm not a huge fan of Fabled Passage. Like, its effect on Standard. I think if we're not going to be having other stuff, for it, I think it, like, we can accept, like, have that. Yeah, expanded anatomy. Alright card. Great for draft. I look forward to getting in a win with it, or like getting some really good swings. On the other hand, first day of class, I think will be a bomb exactly once in my draft career. When I slam it down, get a ton of tokens, and just wreck my opponent. And every other time it's going to be draft chaff. This is gonna be pick 15. Pick 15 and so many packs, because it's just not great. But Introduction to Annihilation. On the other hand, fantastic card. 5-mana sorcery removal is not anything super great, especially when it draws your opponent a card. But in draft, when you don't need to play this in your deck, like, you're gonna get to pick 6 in pack 2, and this is gonna look good, I think. Because removal is always a good thing. And, just more removal, that you can access in such a way, is very strong. So I think Introduction to Annihilation is a great, draft card. On the other hand, Introduction to Prophecy is like... I think that Introduction to Prophecy is a card that can make Lesson and Learn, like, a strong mechanic in Standard. Because just... You have, like, your couple of really bomb, lessons that, like, you're playing Lesson for, but then you also just throw in a copy of this for if you like, need to draw or scry. Like, it doesn't do a ton, but it does enough that I can see it making its way in. Valentine is actually kind of great, I think. One of the stronger cards in the set, I think. Or at least one of the more playable ones. Because 1 mana 1/1 with Lifelink and Menace, like, is already, you know... You don't want to be playing it, but there are decks that play similar things. But then the Graveyard Hate effect that lets you, like, plus off their stuff, that's very strong. I can see that, especially with a new Innistrad around the corner. I can see that doing a lot. And then the other side, Lisette is fine. And then, Flarg and Augusta. Boros can't get shit. Flarg has so much text on it. It just... It says a lot to do something that's not actually that great. Like, you get a free cheap card, but you're paying a lot for it. I think Flarg is pretty bad. And Augusta can lead to hijinks. I think that she might be good in, like, an aggro deck. But it is curious that it's always Boros getting this shit. Then, Shyly, I don't know, like, depending on how much token output you can have, I think Shyly can be very strong. But also, I don't know, or if, actually, I don't know if what gender the bird is. I don't know if they can be very strong, or if they, like, maybe they can go far. I just don't really, believe that. Bit too restricted, and, doesn't do enough for me. And then Embrose. Embrose, like, a lot of the backsides of these cards are a lot better than their front side. Which is interesting. Embrose, like, I am here for. It's card draw, it's buffing your creatures. Like, maybe there can be a tokens build, maybe there can be an aristocrats build. Or even just, like, kill your opponent's X1s. He seems maybe not fantastic, especially with his other side being lackluster. But I can see him having use. And then Kian and Imbraham. So Kian is, I don't know. I think her effect can whiff too much. Like, you just exile a bunch of cards with the same cost. So I don't think that's very exciting, other than the fact that I can't remember how much synergy it has in the set. But I think it's, like, fine. Not, like, I don't love it. But it is definitely playable, and I love Imbraham. Because just, it's a great value mechanic. You can dump a lot of mana into it, and then just spend a few turns picking out the good stuff before dumping a bunch more mana into it. Which seems strong for a control deck. Having cards that you can just leave outside of the ability for your opponent to meddle with them is good. It's not quite Foretell, but it seems strong. Waterfall Aerialist is a draft card. Field Trip is maybe a decent a decent learn card. Like, you're getting 2 cards of value off it. It's no Cultivate, is the thing. It's a bit restrictive, even like requiring a basic forest. So I don't know about that, but it's like, I don't know. I especially once Cultivate rotates, I can see it having a place in things. Enthusiastic Study is a draft card. Study Break is a draft card. Rise of Extus. Removal is good in draft. I'll take this. Like, exiling stuff from the graveyard. Maybe we get Flashback in one of the Innistrad sets, and it's very good then. But who knows? We'll have to see, but I don't see much for this. And Environmental Studies is another one similar to Introduction to Prophecy, where it's like, it being colorless means I can see it, like, you play a 1-of in your sideboard for Lesson, for when you've used up all your good lessons. Like, it's not great, but it's fine enough. It does enough that I'm not unhappy with it. And Strixhaven has pretty lands. I like this mountain because I love, like, floating stuff. And, like, you can see it on here too. Like, this is kind of very Zendikar to me, if a bit restrained for Zendikar. And here's just more cards in other forms. Star Pupil is a draft card. Don't have anything to say about that. These 3. Oh boy, these 3. So after the first few red-white cards got revealed, I was like, oh, time for red-white to suck it some more. And then these got revealed. And these are very good. Elite Spellbinder is, like, a fantastic hate bear that just, like, fucks with your opponent. It's white hand disruption, which is something new. And I'm very interested in that. But it's also just, like, a good body. 3-1 hits well because of flying. This is, like, definitely going to see play in not even just aggro decks. I can see it seeing play in a variety of things. Rip Apart is less guaranteed to be, like, widely used, I think. But that variety of, like, 2 different kinds of removal is strong, and I think that will take it places. And Venerable War... With Venerable Warsinger, I saw it, I read the effect, like, you can bring stuff back from your graveyard. And I was like, Vigilance Trample 3/3, okay, this is a good card. And then I read it again and realized it said Battlefield and not Hand. This card is actually kind of nuts, I think. It's one of the strongest cards in the set, especially for Boros. And if Boros becomes a thing, I think it is because of this card. Venerable Warsinger is fantastic. And then, Velomachus Lorehold is a dragon that hits well. And then it gets you cards when it, gets you a card when it hits. Let's see, where am I in my, notes? It's a good finisher. I think it might be too expensive for standard. I think I mean, it's an Elder Dragon. Of course, it's going to be C-play and EDH. But it seems like a great card. It'll have its place. And maybe, the Jeskai, like, is it Spells deck can splash white for this. With, the Gold Dragon and stuff. Because that's, like, a form of ramp. Water. Thunderous Orator is alright. Thrilling Discovery is not anything I'd want to be playing, because I think Red already has discard 2, draw 3, and I don't think the 1 white is worth 2 life. And so you don't really need this. There's better stuff. Strict Proctor, on the other hand, I'm very into. I've always loved Hate Bears as a deck. So it's just like countering your opponent's abilities as a form of lockdown is pretty good. Plus it's a spirit for any of those synergies. I don't think there is a Hate Bears deck in Standard right now. And I don't think it's good enough to make it into Modern Hate Bears. Is Modern Hate Bears even still a thing? I haven't played Modern in, like, 5 years. Stonebound Mentor is... It's an interesting card. I think it does interesting things. I don't know if it's, like, great, but, if the mechanic works as I think the developers were intending it to, it can have a good place, especially as a 3-mana 3/3. I'm definitely looking forward to, like, having 1 or 2 of these in a draft. And having really nice draws. Spirit Summoning is another card I'm looking forward to having in draft. Because, yeah, it's token. I think it's a lot better than, right, my hair's blocking it. It says, Whenever one or more cards leave leave your graveyard. Let's see, can I? Now, my hero is in a really awkward place for this. There, I think that's the most visible it's gonna get. Yeah, whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard. So it's like, that's not something that's happened before. And I'm interested to see how this plays out, how playable it is. Especially because that, like, seems to be, like, the big mechanic. And, but yeah, the, make a 3/2 token spirit summoning. Like, a lot of these lessons are like, I'm gonna be so happy to take one as my pack, to pick 6. Time for a fish haircut? No. I like my twin tails. They're staying. Even if it gives me, like, a very wide range. Yeah, so spirit summoning is cool. Sparring Regimen. Not a good card. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I don't think it's a good card. Semester's End. As has been proven by the Orion deck, there is something for mass balance in Standard. I don't think that limiting it to creatures does it any favors. I think there are commander decks that want this more. Link decks and stuff. But I think overall this is just like something where you have better options in any format that you would want to play it in. Is it hair? Fish don't have hair. Are your twin tails made of hair? My twin tails are made of hair. I'm not going to explain how, but trust me, there is an explanation. Return to Past Caller. 6 mana I want a lot. And I don't think Return to Past Caller does a lot. It gets you back something, which is cool. So it has synergy with, like, Magecraft and the Spirits stuff, and, taking stuff out of your graveyard. But I don't think I want that for 6 mana. If it had, like, if it was, like, a 5/3, I would be a lot happier with it. But this is just, like, not a great body. And too expensive. Reduced to memory. Not the worst white removal that we have gotten in recent sets. Not the worst. Could get worse. Reconstruct history. Depends how much. Like, I think Reconstruct history all depends on how much you can get out of the graveyard with it. But if you can reliably have a lot of targets, that can be very strong. If you can't, maybe not. I see this having a place in formats and index. Radiant Scroll Wielder, not very enthusiastic about that. It being random is like the death sentence for it. I don't want to be playing it that way. Even if it gives stuff lifelink. I don't think that helps. Quintorius Field Historian. I want to build a commander deck or a brawl deck for this guy. Because he seems very fun in a spirits deck or like a deck based around recycling your graveyard. He seems strong. He seems very cool. Master Symmetrist is sure is a card. Lowerhold Pledge Mage. It attacks well. I appreciate the first strike. It'll make for good swings. Lorehold Excavation is novel. I can see it having a place in a variety of things, but I don't think it really has a place unless the like Lorehold like returning stuff mechanic is the thing. And the damage it doesn't really justify that, I feel. And Illustrious Historian is just draft chaff. Illuminate History is not great. It's not great. 4 mana is not what I want to be paying for a wheel effect, even if it gives me a body. So I think, like, I don't think it's great. It fills the graveyard at least, but I don't think it's great. Hoffrey Ghost Forge actually is kind of great. Spirit Tribal. And I think the, like, exiling and, like, making spirits thing, that's cute, I look forward to playing this guy in, like, commander formats. I don't think he has a place in standard or anything else besides like that. Heated Debate sure is removal. Maybe there might be a time in standard when it's the best thing in standard but I don't think it will be. Go Blank is a great card. Especially with the potential for 2 graveyard sets in the fall. I think I say a lot. I think it can do good things. I think it can like the mill and getting rid of a graveyard is strong against graveyard decks. So this is a card made for sideboards, so much so that I'm surprised it's not a lesson. That would probably make it too strong. I'm looking forward to it being played. Except unless I don't want to say I'm looking forward to it being played because I might decide I want to play a graveyard deck, in which case I'm gonna hate this card. Ifrit Flame Painter is a card. I think it, like, can go off. I just think that, like, I don't really want to be playing it like that. I'm never a fan of cards like that, really. Dueling Coach seems a bit Winmore. Curate has a cute robot. Campus Guide exists to smooth out your curve. And of these 3, Campus Guide is the one I look forward to seeing in my draft pools most often. Burying Books is not the worst removal. And Blade Historian. Boros can't have shit. Blade Historian just, like, for 4 mana, and all colored, I don't really want something like this. Beaming Defiance. Beaming Defiance might be, like, protect your creatures enough that it can, find a life in some decks. But I don't know. And, Academic Probation is... I definitely want to be, like, pulling this out of my deck with, or out of my sideboard with Professor of Symbology. that seems strong value. Just like using this, like, knock out your opponent's biggest guy and swing in. Flame Scroll Celebrant and Revel in Silence. The card art for all of these is very nice. Yeah. Like, Magic definitely has great art, with only a few exceptions. And I think they've hit it out of the park with this set. I very much like the art for this. But, yeah, so Revel in Silence and Flame Scroll Celebrant are both good, and they're both, like, these plus that 3/3 from earlier, I think can be what push Boros the most. Because Flame Scroll Celebrant is a great beat stick. You know, it can deal a lot of damage in the right like deck, and Revel in Silence is a great way to make sure that you can attack and like get in without too much concern. And also you can like fuck with your opponent. I hate this book. This book is awful. I despise it. From my notes, bad, hate this, bad, nothing but loathing, bad. Makes an alright commander if that's your jam. Why did they call it that? I hate this so much. This is bad art, IMO. I don't like that. Magma Opus. Magma Opus is a great finisher, I think. It might be a bit too pricey, but with the emphasis on treasure tokens and with that one dragon, I think it can do a lot. Like, it has a variety of, like, a lot that it does. So I think it can find its place in decks. And the fact that you can discard it in the early game if you don't need it around is also very nice. I think Magma Opus is going to see play. It's a good card. And Grinning Ignis, this Japanese card here, return it to your hand to get mana. Storm. It could be Storm. You go infinite with, it goes infinite with Bergie. But unfortunately, like, this isn't real Storm. So just casting spells isn't enough. You need to be casting, instants and sorceries. But just the idea of, like, you can make a situation in which you can just keep recasting Grinning Ignis for infinite mana. And I appreciate that. Standard should have infinite combos. And, Expressive Iteration. That's great sorting. Is it loves this? Spells loves this, Storm loves this. If there is a, like, Jeskai control deck, it loves this. This is just a great card. The Expressive Iteration is going to see play. I'm a big fan of it. I'm less a fan of Elemental Expressionist. Just because, I don't know, I don't think I want that many creatures in a spell deck. And I don't want them dying. I really like the, like, Flame Tiger thing, but I'm just not super into it. And, Elemental Calling. Get a 4/4 Elemental. That's boring, but it's a 5-mana 4/4 with, token synergy. So, you can do worse. It's a lesson. It's gonna be another case of, like, I take this late in the draft and get to play it with learning. Creative Outburst feels like lesser Magma Opus, which might still be fine. But I'm not really as into it. The discard, I think, is what might make it useful. Solve the equation is, Storm. Spells. That's what this set is going to be good for. I appreciate just, like, you can go get things. Explosive Welcome is mid. Make Your Mark seems fun. And I like the flavor text. Those who do learn from history may choose to repeat it. I'm gonna get someone in draft with that a couple times. Mage Hunter. It punishes Storm. But it'll get a few points of damage in draft. Wandering Archaic is 100% a commander card. And it's a commander card that you show up to the table with, like, and there's, like, 5 other people there, and you put this on the board, and they just hate you. Because making everything cost more, or else you get a copy, is a really strong effect. And it doesn't even need another side, to be useful. But then it does. And this is a more, like, political card. But, like, this is gonna be strong in Commander. And, Tenazir Quandrix is, it's a Simic card. And for that I'm a little disappointed because I want Quandrix to be something else. But I can see it working well with, Fractals. You know, double your token. And I think, his, buff can be good. Again, works well with Fractals. I just don't know how well that can work, in Standard, or in Brawl, and in Commander you have better options. It might make it into the 99, but he's just not exciting enough. His numbers could be bigger. He could be doing more. Multiple Choice is a control card that's going to be seeing play in control decks. And it will be seeing play in control decks. Because it's very efficient. You get this good variety in it. I think option 2, letting your opponent choose what they make, is a bit weak. But the fact that you can then, for 5 mana, get everything is incredibly strong. And I think it's a very good card. Extus Auric Overlord. I don't know what this guy's gonna be good for. Why are there 2 multiple choices up there? You can pick one of them. But the actual answer is, you see how, this one is missing the borders? It's just, like, an alternate art thing. Because Magic has a lot of alternate art versions. And I feel like this kind is the most, like, useless. Like, it's kind of cool in Arena, where you can't have foils. I don't know why anyone would want this in, like, paper Magic. It's not very exciting. Just like how Extus isn't very exciting, because I don't know what he's going for. Like, I can see, you know, there can be a good deck that dumps big creatures and, like, brings them back with him. but I don't know how much that can be a thing. Like, it's a very strong ability. I just struggle to see him finding a place. Right, fuck it. And then the other side is not a good card. Because, for that many creatures or that much mana, I really want something better than a 3/6 that deals damage. That's a big case of, like, please do more. Like, Valky and Tibble are called to mind here, because those both did good things for their cost. But this just feels like a bum mythic. And if Awaken the Blood Avatar was a mythic on its own, I would just be laughing. It's not a great card. And it's only, like, with Auric, or with Exodus, that it becomes, like, alright. Igneous Inspiration, it's removal. It's fine. Practical Research, it's fine. For 5 mana, drawing 4 cards is fine. I just am not super into it. And I don't even want to be playing it too much in draft, I think. And then Prismarine Pledge Mage. Sure, this kind of thing is a staple, but I'm not a huge fan. Spectacle Mage. I think Spectacle Mage has a good place. Like, with stuff like, Magma Opus or Creative Outburst. It can do, fun stuff. This would go in the spells deck, maybe. And it being, like, it's a Windrake, too. Perfectly fine body. So, I think that, like, I think it's a good card. I think I like it. I also like Rutha Mercurial Artist. Like, it's not super great, but I think the fact that Magecraft triggers off of copying makes it good. And she's cheap to recast, and she blocks well. So it's not the most exciting thing, but I'm into it. I dig it. Culmination of Studies. Bad card. I don't want to be throwing away as many cards as I need to throw away to make this card good. And I don't want to be paying that much mana. It ends up being very expensive and costing you a lot of cards that you just can't play anymore. You know, exiling cards is fine, just it needs to do something, and this doesn't do enough, unless, like, maybe you can exile enough to kill your opponent and, like, win that way, but it's just, like, it's also unreliable. It's just a bad card. Sun Breakthrough is fine. Resculpt is low. Great blue removal, because white isn't a real color. Another Kasmina art. I really like this Kasmina art. She looks really cool here. And Maelstrom Muse. I think this card is very good. Like, the fact that it doesn't need to connect, it just needs to deal damage is promising. I am into that aspect of it. 4 mana might be a bit much for this effect, but I can see it working. It's going to be great in draft. Because flyers are already great in draft. Teaching of the Archaics. It's a strictly better divination, but I don't know if I really like that. Like, I don't think it does quite enough for me to want to be playing it. But it's a lesson, so we'll have to see how much lesson makes it into sideboards before, like, writing it off entirely. And Golden Ratio is a cute way to draw a lot of cards or no cards. And I think the art is kind of funny, but I think it's there are tokens, but Quandrix mostly goes for big tokens rather than a variety, or like rather than a widespread. So I don't think it's gonna even be super useful as far as tokens go. I love Kelpie Guide. Kelpie Guide is really cool. I don't care about its effects. I just like Kelpies. Here is another draft comment that this can put in a lot of work, or it can do absolutely nothing. I'm not gonna... That's a comment, so I'm not gonna bother translating it. This is just when it dies, learn. Which, if learn becomes a thing, sure. This has a translation later on, so I'll talk about it then. Defend the Campus is removal and a buff. And I think that makes it very good in draft, because I don't want to be playing the, like, team-wide buffs very often. And I'm, like, fine playing the, like, white kill big things removal. And combining them makes for a great card. It makes for a card that I'm very, very enthusiastic to be playing. Hall of Oracles seems bad. That's not, like, sure. I don't think I want to be playing that. Silverquill have a +1/+1 counter scheme. Maybe it makes its use in there, but I don't like it. Verdant Mastery, I really don't like. Because, I don't know, by the time I have 6 mana, I don't want to be doing more ramping. And if I'm paying 4, I'm unhappy with this. I think they, like, pay a lot to get a good effect, or pay slightly less to get a good effect isn't a bad idea. I just think this execution doesn't work out. I don't want to be giving my opponent lands. Approach of the Dragon, need to zoom in. Approach of the Dragon is neat. Just play a bunch of these ramp out dragons. But that seems like you build a deck around this, you throw it on the play it on Arena a couple times, and then you get bored and move on. I think that's how that's gonna go. Conspiracy Theorist is a decent card. It's it goes in aggro because it gets you value. Because you can just draw a card and then cast whatever you discard. And I think that makes it good. I think it can do a lot in an aggro deck. and Red has had that aggro deck in Standard ever since Embercleave was a thing. I don't think it's gonna, like... I don't think he's gonna push that deck any further. But I do think that he just slots in well. Some of these were cards I wanted to talk about. Dragonic Intervention. I think it's neat. I don't know if there's gonna be a deck that wants to play this. And I don't know if it's better than certain options that exist now. But I think it can do good stuff, and I think it can go far. I keep saying a lot of the same words, and I feel kind of bad about that, but it's like, I don't know. I think this can be good. It beats back aggro, because to get what I would want out of this, I would just need to pay, like, or exile, like, a 3-cost spell, and suddenly my opponent's board is wiped. But the option to go higher makes this very good. So I think, like, in a format which is gonna have aggro, it's gonna be good. And aggro is always going to be a thing. I don't know if this name is official, because it's a translation, obviously. But boy, is that a name. I think this is cool for Grenzo, for the Grenzo deck in Commander. And I'm glad whenever that deck gets support, because that deck deserves it. Not much more to say on that. This is... eh. I can't believe they made a Frog Fractions card. This is fine. You know, get a creature as big as you want out of it. Similar to the other token cards. It's for draft. Ecological Appreciation, I think, will do strong things. Because it's just getting you a lot. If you put 5 into it, you can get a bunch of bears. If you put 3 into it, you can get a lot of stuff. Like, it just... You can put your opponent in some bad situations with this, especially with how ramp heavy Standard is right now. And I look forward to putting in, like, 10 mana or whatever. None of these are super exciting, but I do think, like, Elemental Masterpiece, anything that, like, anything with the discard to make treasure mechanic is gonna be Deece. So it's Deece. Archway Commons is just we've seen this land before under different names. It has been fine then. It's fine now. I don't want to be playing it, but I will end up playing it. And I really hope Standard doesn't go to a point when this is something we want to be playing in our decks. Strixhaven Stadium. Teach by Example is expansion by itself. What do you mean by that? Like, that's just, like, like, a fork effect that we have seen before, which is why I didn't really discuss it. Like, it just didn't really strike me as anything, like, super exciting. Oh, Expansion Explosion. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we have seen this effect before. which is why I'm not super excited about it, and why I didn't really talk about it. Strixhaven Stadium is cute. It's like, Magic is now a mini-game. It's doing its own thing. It's, a hall monitor being a lizard, is funny. Yeah, kudos to the flavor team on that one. It's like, comedy and Magic can be very mixed at times, but I appreciate that that's like, it's an underkey joke. Yeah. So, Strixhaven Stadium. I think it's a fun minigame, and I think it's very good that the last, point counter has to be gone through damage, and you can't win otherwise. Like, someone just plays this in Commander, and suddenly the game just, like, takes on a whole new, phase, and I think that's cool. I know. I like it when, like, gimmicky weird cards like this exist. You know, make Magic a weird fucking game. Zimone. I like Zimone. I think Simic has enough ramp as is that it doesn't want a creature-based ramp in this form because it's not efficient enough. And I think the card draw is a bit too expensive. Even if you can be paying for it by that point. I don't know if she has a deck, but I hope she does. I like the art, and I like her, so, like, I do kind of hope that, she can find a place in things. She'll probably be, like, good in multiplayer formats where it's a lot slower. Quandrix Pledge Mage just being a thing that grows. Manifestation Sage. I don't get why Manifestation Sage is a rare, just because it feels like you can get like a 7/7 out of that. But you can also whiff and get like a 1/1. And I don't really like that too much. And Cogwork Archivist is another card for Grenzo. These are all stuff we've already covered. Right, so Baleful Mastery. I think with Baleful Mastery, you don't want your opponent to be drawing a card, but 4 mana for killing a creature or a planeswalker, like, is something that I have played before. Like, I think it gets a pass as, like, you want to be playing it for 4, but if your opponent plays something early that you need to address, you have the option. So I think that goes, I think that makes it, good. If not now, I think maybe when rotation happens and we don't have, the, removal spell that's also a creature. What cards we've already seen. Aether Helix is alright. It's decent value. Very, very pretty art. But I don't know if it's... I think it's too expensive. Even in draft. Like... Bounce your opponent's big thing, sure. But... I don't think it's good enough. And whatever this thing's name in English is, Flying and Death Touch for on a 1/1 for 2. I am here for that. I will take that. I don't know. I like we have gotten this card before, and I liked it then, and I like it now, and I will always like take it. Leonin Light Scribe. This is this is another good white card for a white weenie deck. Because I don't know, I don't like playing like board-wide buffs because they don't really do enough on their own. But the fact that now like every card that you play will be doing that is strong, and he's a bear. So I think he has a place in the like white aggro. Fervent Mastery is another case of like the mastery cards not being good. The black one is good. So far the others haven't really wowed me. Because I don't want to be giving my opponent value. And I don't think I don't think the effect you actually get from it is good. Because you don't get value from it. I don't like it. Eureka Moment is, what if Growth Spiral was twice as expensive and drew you 2 cards? I think this will see as not as much play as Growth Spiral, but I think it will be seeing play all the same. Because I think it's still decent. Drawing cards and ramping is always stuff you want to be doing. And especially post-rotation when we don't have Cultivate, I think this might have a place in the Simic Teamer ramp decks. Accomplished Alchemist. What did... Yeah, in my notes I have... This goes off less than you want it to. Like... I don't think there are going to be enough turns when you're gaining that much life to really justify a 5-mana mana dork. Emerging Sequence as like a rampant growth with minor downside is like fine. Like, I can see this going places if you can, like, play a land, cultivate, then this. But that's a 5-mana turn. And at that point, I want to be getting more than a 2/2 that's one of my lands. And I don't really see, like, a better situation for this unless you're playing Scapeshift. Augmenter Pugilist. I don't like it. I don't want a beat stick when it's like just for that. And I don't think the other side is all that great either. Like, Beanstalk Giant gets away with it by ramping. But this isn't anywhere as good. Just because, like, it doesn't get it doesn't get that pass. My notes for body of research are just judge. Paper Magic is going to be returning in the next year, and this is going to be an annoying card to play with in Paper. So you have to stop and count, like, the 40 cards left in your deck. But sure, 6 mana, 37/37 is alright. I'm not gonna complain about that. No, like, evasion, no protection, so it dies easily, but, you know, live that dream. Someone's gonna win with this card. Bring it to Commander? Yeah. And Commander, you can have cards that, like, grant your tokens better effects, too. So I think it'll have a nice life there. Letter of Acceptance is a good like a good mana rock. 1 more mana than Mind Stone, but it gives you mana of color, or mana of like any color. So I think that's good. I don't think it'll see much playing command or in a standard, but I hope the commander players like this. I like whenever I get back around to playing commander, I'm gonna look forward to this. Team Pennant. Sure, tokens are a thing. I will have a game where this maybe deals me a couple more points of damage, but not super into it. Square Up. Square Up hurts me. Just through combination of like art and flavor text and effect and name and how that all just combines. Like, kudos for making this work, but like, ouch, 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 ouch. Serpentine Curve. It makes you a fractal. I don't think this is a term that I want a fractal on, but if I can get like 3 applicable cards in the graveyard and get a 4 out of that, fine. Expel is perfectly okay removal. Nothing great, nothing terrible. Biomathematician, I think, like, when I was looking through spoilers earlier, was, like, the point where I was like, oh, okay, I can see how this deck comes together now. I like how he just buffs all of your guys. I think it's, I think there are a lot of fractal cards that make small things, and with a couple of these guys, that gets better. I don't think he's great outside of, like, Brawl specifically, on Arena and Standard, or not Standard, and Draft. But I look fun to, I look forward to that. Biomathematician, sounds like a cool profession. Yeah, like, the math of life, kind of ties into the Quandrix ideology of, like, math is everywhere in our world, so why wouldn't it be in biology? I think it's cool. Quandrix Cultivator. 3/4 for 3, or for 4. Search your library for a forest or island and put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. It's alright. Should be, like, for that effect I want something cheaper, but the land going on the battlefield makes me happy. So, I can see that being useful. Galazeth Prismari is my favorite of the dragons that we have seen so far. I think he goes along really well with the gold dragon from Kaldheim. I think these two will be best friends, especially because he's a 4-drop. So they curve into each other. And they just combo well. They're gonna be casting a lot of spells together. And I love this art. This art is sick. It's a very, like... On his main art, we see him as a, like, humanoid dragon. But I like just, like... You can see he has arms here, but it's not humanoid. Otherwise, I really dig this. What was this one again? Oh, right. Decisive Denial. I think Decisive Denial is a great card. just for Simic, because it's like, it's a solid counter spell and it's a solid removal spell at the same time. And Simic is already good. So I think it's good enough. I'm enthusiastic for it, at the very least. And then, what is this one? Fern Guiley. I don't think that's the real card name. For 6 mana, I want something more than a 6/6. And even the mild synergy that it has isn't really enough to wow me. But Crackle with Power. Crackle with Power is such a fun card. Like, I'm gonna get to see someone wipe my board and hit me for like 50 with this. And that's gonna feel so bad. But I'm gonna be so happy that it happened. Like, I want to see this go off. So I posted this card on Twitter earlier on my personal account. And I was just like, holy shit, is this real? And my Twitter my Twitter followers and mutuals didn't exactly take to it in the way I expected, because everyone was focusing on the 2 girls who are clearly in love, which I hadn't even focused on. And it's cool that they're gay. I like that. Maybe I'll write fan fiction for them or something. But, for fuck's sake, this is the card draw that white gets. This card is awful. This card is awful. This card is awful. This card is awful. This card is terrible. This card is awful. This card is god-awful. Fun fact, my notes for this card are just laughter. Like, yeah, I was trying to have a serious conversation, and everyone was being gay. Yup. Yeah, God, this card is just... It's a joke! I don't know how people can take this seriously. Owl and Shield Mage. A bit pricey, but I look forward to, smashing my opponent with it. And them, being unhappy when they have to kill it. Devastating Mastery is about the worst, the worst board wipe I've seen in Magic. And I really hope we have something better that means that we don't have to play it. Right, Doomscar. Doomscar is going to be in Standard for as long as Devastating Mastery. I will never want to play Devastating Mastery as long as I have access to Doomscar. It's just strictly worse, even if it does destroy non-creature permanents as well. It's just not great. This card is... Brawl is already a format where you can play, like, 40 card removal, or like 40 cards of removal, and win. So you can just name your commander, and just keep killing that commander, and plussing off it, which doesn't seem great. I don't know if it's going to get banned in Brawl, but it could, just because I see this being a problem. What was this one? Right. Yeah, it sucks unless artifacts or enchantments become a big deck. Yeah, with Devastating Mastery, like, if that's the case, I can see there, you know, being some use for it. But even then, I won't want it. Like, I might have to play it, but I won't want to. Silverquill Bully. For 4 mana, I want more than a 2/2. Even if it moves its counters around. Cool ink magic, though. I appreciate the Shoulder Demon here. This Shoulder Demon made of ink is very cool. I just want to call attention to that. Library Strix is alright, you know. Flyer, it lets you learn. Not a very exciting rare, but not the worst. I appreciate the variety this has. Like, this is an effect that we see time and time again in blue. And so I think the variety here and the fact that it's a lesson make this pretty good. But effects like these have always been kind of on the lower end. And I don't think this is going to be too different. And this is just a counter spell that scours the earth, which I would be into if it didn't draw my opponent cards. I don't want my opponent drawing cards, especially in blue. I don't think it's very good. Closing Statement is just kind of funny, but it's not great. I am not gonna get into that. Alright, like, get very into it. Dramatic Finale, I love. I like buffing tokens, making tokens. I'm very into that. I think this could be what pulls together a token deck in Standard. I hate that its effect can only activate once per turn, though. That feels a little restrained. I get why the elf in Kaldheim, who made more elves, but still, superior talent might be worth it against the ultimatum decks. Yeah. I guess, like, if you can kill us, like, erase a spell that's big enough, I can see it being used. But I'm not too excited outside of, like, that very specific context. Necrotic Fumes is a decent lesson, I guess. But nothing especially exciting. Basic Conjuration is, again, like, it's a good lesson, but nothing too exciting. And so its value depends on if the learn mechanic can get good. It's situational for decks with only one win con. Yeah. That's fair. I'm just not super into cards as situational as that. I like Inkling Summoning. Just because I like Inklings. But I'm not really that into it. Just because I don't know, you can get better for that cost, even if it is a lesson. Umbral Juke is going to be a good card. The fact that if your opponent has a variety of creatures that, like, you can't just make them sacrifice the one thing, or, like, get rid of a thing you want, that you can just make a token, I think makes it a lot better. It's not as good as, that one that's, like, target opponent sacrifices a creature or plays, or an enchantment. I think that's, a much better card, but I still think this is fine. Fracture, on the other hand, is a fantastic card. This is a nuts card, honestly. This is top tier removal. This is, like, I would expect to be paying at least 3 or 4 for destroying all of these things. I'm very into this. This is going to be seeing play in any decks that play both black and white. And Show of Confidence has Storm. It just actually has Storm. Unfortunately, it's not actually that great as a win con. You know, creature-based Storm decks generally want to be making the creatures by tokens. But, sure, Show of Confidence can get some damage in. None of these are exciting. Double Major is cute. Like, sure. This gets a pass on, like, it's fun, but it's not great. It's 2 mana for your Storm triggers. Yeah, that's fair. But there are better 2 mana spells, and I don't think the Storm deck wants to be playing white. So unless you can, like, use Professor Onyx to, like, kill them that way, I don't think it's Show of Confidence is great. I forgot what this one was. Alright, that one was already gone over. These have already been gone over. Pilgrim of the Ages is removal, or not, ramp, for white. I think any white card that makes value gets a pass to a certain point. Plus it removes itself from your graveyard for, Lorehold synergy. You know, it's not exciting, but it's neat. I think it's cool. Where am I in my notes? Kuresea Adept is... it's a looter. Tomb Shredder grows bigger, but slowly. Bookworm? Bookworm is a shitty Polaka Worm that's faster. But it comes back. This thing is gonna get played in Standard. Or not, in Draft, and that's gonna be, like, an absolute beat stick there. Mascot Interception with the... I think the Draft is gonna have a lot more tokens going around than, Standard. So it might be better there, but I still don't think it's, like, great. Mentor's Guidance. I think if we're talking about stuff that's, like, good for good for Storm triggers, I think this is a lot better. Just because it's, like, drawing you more cards. And with Will or Rowan, you can make it cheaper too. So I think it's good in that deck. Detention Vortex. It's a like way to keep your opponent's creature down for a bit, but there's not the fact that they can free their creature isn't great, and I want to be playing better, but I'll play it. Novice Dissector plays well with pests. Mascot Exhibition. Mascot Exhibition seems like it would absolutely body someone in a draft. But I'm otherwise not very into it. It's just... you're getting a lot of power out of it, but that power is just kind of there, and it's split across some pretty shitty bodies. You don't even get a pest out of it. I think it's just, like, not good enough. There might be a deck that wants it as a lesson. If I pull this in draft, I'll be happy. But it's not anything I'll be, like, looking forward to. Symmetry Sage is alright. Neat. It's a neat way to be dealing 2 to your opponent on turn 2. Unfortunately, I don't think it, like, has late game energy, but I think, like, if there can be a blue aggro deck, this goes in. God, exponential growth is... it's very fun. It's really dumb, but it's fun. Doubling is Mark Rosewater's favorite mechanic. Yup. Vanishing Verse is... I don't know. Not great removal. There is definitely a much better removal in the set. But... I think stuff like this has seen play before. So I'm not going to say it can't see play. Selfless Glyph Weaver and Deadly Vanity are alright. I don't really want to be playing either, but I don't know if they're good enough together to see play. I don't think so. Killian. If there is a, like, buffing deck, maybe. But I don't know if that's gonna be, I don't know. I don't think that's gonna be a thing. And I don't think he has a place in Standard. And I think in other formats you have better options. Mavinda, I'm gonna try and move to the side. Mavinda is really dumb. I get what they're going for with this card, and it just doesn't click. Like, you want to be targeting your own spells this way, or else they're really expensive. But why is this a mythic? It's not a great card. It's a very bum mythic. Silverquill Pledge Mage, I'm very into. Just because, like, cast 2 spells, get both options. It'll be a good beat stick in draft. And Mila. Mila is a decent hate bear, I guess. 2/3 for 3, and draws you cards. Like, sure, I'll take it. And then there's Luca, who I cannot assess. Because I don't like Luca as a character. I think the Kuresea story was a mess. I don't even know which Luca is this of the 3 different versions of Ikoria? Which one is canon? Which one is this guy? I don't know how to approach him. And the effects are fine. I don't think it's, like, enough for him to be chanting, "Fox, fox, fox." Yeah, chat is going nuts for foxes. Shout out foxes. Yeah, I don't think Luca does quite as much as I want him to. But his effects can be good. Especially the ultimate, which will win you the game. Blot Out the Sky is something I am very here for. Blot Out the Sky is, like, top tier for a, like, Esper or Tokens deck. Put 8 mana into it, you get, 12 power on board, and, your opponent has nothing. And if that doesn't win you the game, it's because they were able to counter with their own board wipe of some sort. This seems like a very strong card, and in the right deck. I like the Inklings. The Inklings are a fun implementation. Humiliate is... It's an alright hand disruption thing that, like, I would like a better secondary effect besides a +1/+1 counter. But I'll take it. Like, it's passable, as is. I think the +1/+1 counter theme kind of falls on its face. Just because, like... I don't know, I think that kind of thing is always a bit fragile. Same goes for Exhilarating Elocution. Moldering Karok. That's gonna be a fun card to play in draft. And that's some sick art, too. That's, like, rotting crocodile thing. Very into that. I don't get Gnarled Professor. Is there, like... Is Gnarled Professor missing some lines of text? Am I misreading it? Is it a double-faced card that, like, is missing its second face? Why is this so rare? Like, it's a 5/4 for 4 with trample that gives you some value. Why is this a rare? This is so bad. Not even, like, bad, like, on its own, but it's like, as a rare, this sucks. I don't want this. Like, what the fuck? Why is this a rare? Why is this a rare? Why is this a rare? God. Shadewing Laureate. When I first saw this, I missed that it said creature with flying, and thought, oh, this goes in Aristocrats. Then I read it again and saw the flying part and was like, oh. Maybe it still goes in Aristocrats if you can be sacrificing enough Inklings. But I don't think Aristocrats is really gonna be a thing, any more than it already has been. Yeah, Shadewing Laureate has really cool art. Yeah, I'm into this art. Yeah. Into the Unknown. This seems good for a, like, sacrifice deck or a tokens deck. And also good, like, for the, for the Magecraft Storm deck. I think this can go off pretty well. Draw you a bunch of cards. So I think this will be a good card. But the problem is that I don't think I would ever want to be playing it on its own. I want to be doubling it. Because on its own it just doesn't do enough. But it can like build highly. And then Retriever Phoenix. I don't know. Like, it's a Phoenix that you can bring back with Learn, in the late game once you've mostly exhausted your good Learn options. Better than, like, the discard option, contextually. I think it's no Arclight Phoenix, but I think it still might find a place in a spells deck, despite that. And that's everything that Scryfall has. But there was some other stuff, a lot of which isn't in English, and I'm only gonna like cover the stuff in English mostly because we're reaching 2 hours and I am getting lazy. I have further notes, but I am getting tired. Containment Breach. It's a bit more expensive than I want for my green artifact removal, but creating a pest is alright. If there are problem artifacts or enchantments, it'll be good. Especially because, like, this is a card you want in your sideboard that you can then bring out of your sideboard as needed, as opposed to, like, something you would otherwise play in your deck. And I think that gives it a nice little bonus. Damogoth Titan. This card is sick. This card is pretty sick. I should zoom in. Yeah, Damogoth Titan is sick. Like, it's a giant beatstick for cheap, and all it, like, if you can make enough pests, if you can make enough pests to be, like, to keep feeding this guy, it's great. Like, this can be ending games very quickly. It doesn't have any protection or evasion or anything, but you can get this off. That can go, I think. Honor Troll is such a, like, God. Put it in a Rakdos deck with fling stuff. Yeah, that too. I think it definitely has a place for that in Standard, or even in, like, maybe even a place in, like, older formats. God, Honor Troll is a white card. This is literally a white card. There is a white card with this effect. Why is this now a fucking green card? Just everything good is now green. It wasn't even especially great when white did it. But, like, the chance for a 4/4 beatstick for 3, like, with all the pest synergy, like, that's good. Yeah, white isn't a real color. I'm just waiting every day for WotC to announce that they're errataing out white, and all of its effects are going into blue and green. Like, God. This, like, early in spoilers, I was super enthusiastic about Boros, and Boros has some good stuff, but it's just, like, it hasn't gotten anything good, I think, this set. And I think Silverquill is kind of lacking, which doesn't help. Hunt for Species. or hunt for specimens. There are worse ways to learn, I think. I can see him play for that reason. I can definitely see him play in a draft for that reason. Gives you stuff to sacrifice, gives you stuff to chump with, and it gets you cards. Professor of Zemancy creates a pest. Yeah, that's all right. Harness the Infinity. When I saw this card, I just needed to, like, step back and think about it. Because... what the fuck? It's so good. This is nuts. This goes the fuck off. This is insane value. This is nuts. Like, what do you can do so much with Harness Infinity, I don't even know where to start. It is incredible. It's going to be seeing play in probably, like, everything as just value. Like, there is so much you can do with Harness Infinity. Dina Soul Steeper? I don't think... Alright, no, okay, yeah. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. That's alright. And she sacks creatures, that's alright. I think she's alright. Nothing, incredible, but I'll take it. The, Pledge Mage is fine. Again, nothing great. I'm very into the Sedgemoor Witch. 3 mana, 3/2 with Menace, and it's hard to kill, and it makes you a lot of creatures. I think this goes in a lot of decks. I think this is gonna see a lot of play. Sedgemoor Witch is a very strong card. It'll be, very useful. And then, Deathful the Forbidden. Professor's Warning is alright. Unwilling Ingredient is, decent sack out, or like a decent card to sack, but I don't think you want to be playing it too much when you have better options. This is like decent, removal in draft, I guess. Infuse with Vitality is great. Just like, you're gonna win that combat. And it possibly even, like, re-trigger and enter the battlefield effect. Great for draft. Not really any used anywhere else, but, like, saying something's only going to be used in draft isn't a bad thing. Because I can imagine going very far with that. Zephyr Boots is fine. Callous Blood Mage is very good. We got something like this in Eldraine, in white, that was just like, here are 3 good effects. So this just, maybe it just draws you a card. Maybe it gives you another blocker. Maybe it kills your opponent's graveyard. The fact that you can choose is very strong. It's, Callous Blood Mage is like, very clear. Yeah, Charming Prince, yeah, that. I think the fact that, like, they both can let you choose are what made them strong cards. And you saw Charming Prince, you see Charming Prince see play in aggro decks, and I think that's going to be the same for Callous Blood Mage. Especially in the sacrifice decks, where he can create an extra thing to sacrifice. Poet's Quill is not an exciting rare, if I'm gonna lie. If I'm not gonna lie. Um, but Learn seems decent. I just 1/1 and lifelink isn't enough for a rare in my books, no matter how like what the value it gives, unless it's like Skull Clamp. God, this whole line here is nuts. So Blex Vexing Pest is my favorite card in this set, just because I love the like grouping tribal of pests, bats, insects, snakes, and spiders. He's just the lord of the creepy crawlies. And that's kind of like a deck type I have wanted to make for a while. He seems very fun for Commander. Or even like Brawl. And gaining 4 life when he dies is just like decent. And Search for Blex, that's just like decent value. Putting a lot of cards into your graveyard for synergy, getting a card into your hand, getting cards into your hand. Search for Blex is good. And Blex, I think, is less good overall, but it has the synergy to make it strong. And then there's Belladros! Belladros is fucking nuts. Especially with the life gain theme. This guy is going to be doubling your mana, at the very least. Like, that's a huge effect. If your opponent lets it resolve and then kills it immediately, you can still use that effect and get a free, like, wipe out the cost that you had for it. Belladros is nuts. I think he might be better than the Blue-Red Dragon. They're on the same level. They're both really good. He's just really good for like combos and like value and gonna run through some stuff faster. Pillar Drop Rescuer is decent. He has the same CMC as Harness Infinity. Yeah, he does. That would be a very strong play. I don't like Jadzi. Jadzi just doesn't seem great to me. Neither effect seemed to really do enough that I would want to play a Mythic, as a Mythic, and Jadzi costs 8. They dodge removal, at least. But I don't know. I'm not very into Jadzi. I do get, like, I guess that it can chain spells, which is cool. And turning to the Oracle is like, I guess, I don't know how often I'll have enough lands in my hand to make Journey to the Oracle worth it. Maybe there's a deck for it, maybe there's not. Tempted by Oryx is decent card, steal some small stuff, but not, like, great. Tend the Pests is... Tend the Pests can go off, in a sacrifice deck. Just make a ton of bodies that you can then throw away later. If you get, like, 5 tokens off this, you're doing great. I think Tend the Pest is great. And then, when I was taking my notes earlier, Reject was the last card. I didn't have notes for Reject. Mage Duel is alright. As far as cards that make creatures fight, it's fine. I'm not super hyped for it, but sure. Reckless Amplimancer is fine. Combo deck. Sack the 11-10 from earlier. Yeah. Get a ton of pests and then just like... You can just do whatever at that point. Mortality Spear seems great. Especially with the number of pests running around. Very into Mortality Spear. What's this one? I actually haven't seen this one before, so... This seems... This seems good for Storm. Make a bunch of pests, blow them up with this, and make a ton of mana. This seems like a great way to give yourself a ton of value. And then, like, get a bunch of, like, death triggers and stuff. Very into this. This is, cool. Mage Hunter's Onslaught. Good way to push lethal. Good. Look forward to playing that in draft and just winning. And then that's that. I don't know. I don't know what to be doing now. I guess, yeah, get me going. Thanks all who came. This was sort of an experiment. I had no idea what kind of audience I would have for this. And I didn't get a ton of views, but I got about as many views as I usually do. So I might do this again. Probably not again for Strixhaven, because the set spoilers are basically over at this point. But maybe for future sets. And I want to do other Magic content. Magic is something I really like. So expect more Magic content from me in the future. Fuck. Yeah, I don't know. Goodbye? Good night? I'm always bad at this.